got ourselves a batch of shinies, Commander.
Hello and welcome to Coordinated Fire, Episode 30, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast where one of us, not naming names, became just a bit more like a Skywalker this past week. How are you guys doing?
Better than you are.
Yeah, better than you,
naming
Titus.
So,
You wanna,
for reference to everybody, I managed to lose a little bit of one of my fingers this week and missed our Thursday game because of it. Not actually Skywalker levels, but, was not
Doing a
pleasant.
bit better though.
Yeah.
I'm not to see a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Yes.
So for those of you watching, it's still mostly there. But yeah, I am going to be seeing a plastic surgeon about it, probably. I'm hopeful because I didn't lose that much. It might just be I don't need to. But anyway, moving on.
Take care of it while you can.
The joys of construction.
Yes. Well, I actually got it while I was at home.
Okay. All right.
But yes. So for this episode, we've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to start with our usual, what we got up to this week. Then we're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming event at Crit this weekend, followed by a discussion about the new key operation missions and the new mission pack being put on pre-order. And then finally, we've got a General Grievous primary spotlight. So a lot to get over.
Packed episode tonight.
Yeah, it's the
Love
first separatist spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Besides the core set, which I don't know if you count that or not.
So this is outside of core box, the first one.
Awesome. So jumping into what we got up to this week, Titus, as you mentioned, you had to miss.
Yeah, I was at the hospital.
The regular game night. I am glad you were doing a bit better and excited to see you out again this week. But otherwise, we did get 2 games in on the Thursday night. Sean, you played against Brandon. What were you rocking this week?
So Brandon and myself this week, I went back to a primary and a list that I really like, but I've been trying to tweak it a little bit and play some stuff that some other people have been trying out. So I played Grand Admiral Thrawn, Stormtrooper Sergeant with Dark Troopers alongside Moff Gideon, Vader 3, and the ISB. Brandon played Han, Chewie, Pathfinders with the Mandalorian, Bo, and Clan Kryze. We played this on Sabotage Showdown. He won the priority role on this and got mission. Not the best mission for my list. Very much more tuned, I think, to Brandon's game plan. And as I kind of go through this game, some things that Brandon classically does with Mandalorians that made this a little bit difficult, particularly in Struggle 1s. Yeah, so Struggle 1, Brandon really took this quickly from me. He was able to bomb Bo-Katan to my back objective very quickly. Again, this is something that Brandon does almost every single time he plays Mandalorians. It's a little bit of a classic move for him. And then I ripped Stormtrooper Sergeant. First rip, which when I get him that early, I just play him. I realize I'm on the back foot on that activation, but for me, it's moving primary, so I moved the Dark Troopers up. But really, the order deck was just not going my way. I hate saying that order deck was bad, but this was a fairly bad order deck. It went Stormtrooper Sergeant and then Vader 3, and then Dark Troopers. It wasn't a good combination for me, and he got some very good flips. He annihilated me Struggle 1. I was able to bring it back Struggle 2, where I got well positioned top to right, middle and bottom left objective maps. It goes on the diagonal there. Vader 3 was on the left, Moff was in the middle, which was fantastic for me. Brandon was able to wound Moff, though when he was positioned, I made him essentially blocking an Ingress point, which was very awkward. But I was able to get somebody else in the middle there too, away from the ingress point. Struggle 3 was left to right, straight down the middle, which again was really advantageous for me because I had Vader 3 on the left side. Moff Gideon was still in the middle, and Brandon was able to wound Moff, but I was able to get the Dark Troopers up into the middle objective, and really he had no answers for that on the back end of his order deck. So I was able to take this one in the second and third struggles. I thought after the first struggle, this one was a wrap, but really I was able to use the tactic cards and the Dark Troopers and the tiebreaker really well in this game. There's just some takeaways from this list. I think Vader 3 just absolutely just continues to impress me. He's really really great. Control when you need it, aggro and damage when you need it. Very tough with protection and steadfast. He can hold an objective on his just on his own. He's so good. ISBs are still a bit of and I don't know, they're a bit of a conundrum to me. I get they're good for 3, but I just find that they're just mid. They didn't really do anything until late until struggle 2 and into struggle 3. And it just feels like in this type of a list, you're really just compromising taking potentially a worse support for a better secondary. And I just don't know if that's the way you should be list building right now with the consensus that supports are so important. So I'm still trying to.
That trade-off makes sense.
It does.
But that's exactly what a point system should do, right?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I'm just saying
whether it's worth it is a very valid question, and you're right. Supports can make or break a list. In the grand scheme of things, when it comes to 3 costs, they are, I think, the best one. I guess bar 2 or 501st would be in the conversation there, but.
ARFs could also be in there in the running.
Yeah, I think the question with a list like this is it worth the trade-off, right? Is it better to have the more powerful secondary, or is it better to have the more impactful support with the 2 bodies?
I feel like in
Empire,
really I tend towards you want the better supports, because Empire has very good supports.
Yeah.
Yeah, the supports you're leaving at home there are Dark Troopers, they're Death Troopers, they're...
Yeah.
Whereas
if we go to, like, say, Republic or Separatists, the sacrifice isn't as bad, but with Empire, like, they have great supports.
Yeah, post this game too, I think it was Chris Pure had posted, it was a Grand Inquisitor and Moff list that you still use Moff, V3, and ISBs, but you pair it with Grand Inquisitor, Fourth Sister, and Fifth. I actually want to try that list. That's actually a list. That's a list I actually might play this weekend.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I've been super impressed with the GI Moff pairing. Yeah, Sean, I just want to go back to kind of the first point you brought up with that playing Stormtrooper Sergeant instead of reserving him, because this is something you and I talked about way back.
Yeah, we had a discussion about the plus minus in this.
Yeah, because I look at this game in particular where in the past you can get in that trap where you reserve Stormtrooper Sergeant, he ends up being your last activation, and you and I had quite a few conversations that, hey, like, I was planning for that bad activation, and that's where I was able to get that bit of an advantage to kind of get ahead in a game, right? And in this case here, if you said that struggle 1, didn't go your way pretty quickly, do you think you would have been able to have that comeback if you were stuck with Stormtrooper Sergeant at the end of the deck?
I don't, yeah. And again, what happens, like you said, is that he gets stuck in a reserve, and then you're him and Han. Okay, is it time now? Or is it time now? Yeah. Should he go now? Should he go now?
And then you just kind of keep putting it off,
and
right?
And then you put it off, and then you're stuck with your opponent knowing, okay, well, he has whatever, 1 card left in his deck or Stormtrooper Sergeant, right? And it really, really gives your opponent such great information at the end of your deck, and it just it causes such a problem for you.
Yeah, and I think this applies in more places, but to the same point of that cost you're paying of taking that 3 cost support to be able to play Vader, taking that 7-point primary has that cost of that 3 cost secondary. And don't get me wrong, again, Stormtrooper Sergeant very much in the top end of 3 cost secondaries.
Right. Yes.
But still a 3 cost secondary.
Yeah.
Right. He's a lot of things and does a lot of great things for a list, but he's not Death Trooper escort by any margin. So it's interesting to see kind of where you want to pay those costs to take that 5 cost secondary, to take that 7 point primary. And I think in the evolution of the game over the past X amount of time, we're not seeing too many of those 7-point primaries doing so hot.
Yeah, like overall, like I've said before, Thrawn I don't think is in a great place in the meta. I understand, Eric has done very well with 100%. Him at certain events, but overall,
yeah, even just taking it out of the Empire conversation, I think Vader 1 is really the only one I would expect to see.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, but like as we've seen really great 5-cost secondaries come out, and on top of that, great 5-cost supports. That cost of taking that 7-point primary is growing.
Also,
Yep,
can
it
I
is.
just say how awful it is that you said take it out of the Empire context and then immediately said Vader?
That's not where he goes. He can, but no, not where I think of Vader
The
1.
Republic Vader. Yeah, so that was my game. Yeah, I think I'm going to have a list this weekend. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the episode. It's going to have GI, Moff, and Thrawn in it, and then probably either Iden or Krennic, just depending on how I build it. I'm not finalized on anything yet. Yep.
Well, at least
still
somebody
tinkering.
knows what they're playing with this weekend.
I have a very thin idea of what I'm going to do.
So I also got a game in against Ryan on Thursday. I also ended up playing against Mandalorian. So Ryan was playing Mando armor with Dengar in there, Dengar and Bo as the secondaries. I think Ryan's really landed on this being the Mando list, and honestly, I am very on board. If I was going back to Mandos, I think that's exactly what I would be playing. And I, despite going in with a plan, got to the table, had some extra cards on me, and Titus had just sent me a message of, you should play full Ewoks, regular Ewoks.
You asked me what you should play,
I did.
and I was fresh out of the hospital, not of sane mind,
A little
and just went,
loopy
well,
on
this is what I
painkillers.
was thinking about playing.
And then I did it. No, I was going to play Leia Chirpa because I did want to get Chirpa on the table after being pretty impressed with Leia Logray in the draft event for the holidays. And I was like, no, I want to try Chirpa. There's a lot in this card that I like. And then you said that, and I was like, well, I've got all the cards here. Let's put some bad models on the table. And that I did. So I played full Ewoks. So Logray, Paplu, and the Trappers, and then Chirpa, Wicket, and the Hunters. That's right? Yeah, that's right.
Hunters.
Yep.
Those are the Ewoks. It was a bunch of little bears on the table, and man, so my Ewoks are not painted. I had not ever gotten around to doing that, and that is just a whole bunch of bears on the table that I can't tell the difference between. So that was
They
fun.
look
we have
pretty
these-
similar.
Do you have any slip-ups?
The first activation for almost everybody, I grabbed the wrong model. Yes.
Oh, gosh. That's hilarious.
I would flip a card. I'm like, nope, that's on this side. Nope, that's with him. Had the cards mixed up. It was a whole thing. Ryan was very patient.
Hot
with
mess
me.
on Thursday. I like it.
So takeaways. So this was a really good game. Struggle 1 went Ryan's way pretty quickly. I think we hit a point where he was maybe 1-2 away from closing out the struggle, and I was able to slowly climb back, and a trap card at just the right time took a wound on the covert Mandos, which took me a point. I was able to just walk 2 support bodies onto 2 other objectives that Ryan had to leave, or going back to take my home objective, something like that, for a pretty big swing back. I then just gave up struggle 2 immediately. There was a 0% chance, and I knew I had a bad activation or 2, so I just got them out of the way for struggle 2, and struggle 3 heavily wounded at this point, but got, of the 3 layouts that were possible, the one that heavily advantaged me, and it kind of just went from there. This does not give enough credit for how close this entire game was, and I felt behind for the entirety of it. So what I was impressed with full Ewoks, the extra defense die from Logray and the extra attack die from Chirpa board wide
It's big.
is
It's huge for them.
big.
Yeah, it's one of the best changes.
It's super noticeable. Every between the hunker tokens across the board, and a lot of Mandos preferring to be in that shooting range rather than melee. I felt like I was rolling a ton of defense die. Very
big
cool
dice
Poplu
rolls.
moments.
Yeah. When I played Shane when we were up at Phoenix Rising, he was
Yeah.
playing Ewoks that tournament. I had to double check with him and say, you're rolling how many dice?
Oh, yeah,
They
it
roll
was
so many.
Like, it's buckets of dice for them
6,
now.
7, 8 defense dice
Yeah.
most of the time. Attack dice getting up there too. So very happy with Chirpa, although his identity wasn't much of a factor just due to where he was, but the threat of it, I think, kept Ryan away from the objective Chirpa was on. So that definitely has a factor there, but it is very avoidable. Logray is always impressive as a primary. The better units that are with him make him better. But again, was super happy with the extra dice. Defensively was in a great spot. Haplu actually did quite a lot. Part of that was lucky dice. There was moments of rolling, again, 6, 7 defense die, and I was just getting 1 expertise every time. And that is luck. So he was a very survivable little bear. Every time, both times he attacked, he full treed both
Ouch.
times. No, and not quite ouch, because that full tree doesn't do very much.
Oh, okay. What does he max out damage?
It does enough.
It's 6. I'm pretty sure it's 6.
Really? I thought it was more than that.
Let me pull up this tiny little bear here for a second. It is 6.
But it does other things.
One of those steps applies a condition. Now, again, he does have some damage on his expertise that adds in there. I want to say both times I was attacking, though, I took my opponent's expertise.
Yeah, you usually want to do that.
And I definitely wanted to. I think it was... Yeah, Dengar he attacked one time, and it was the Mandalorian the other. And I absolutely wanted the opponent's expertise. So he can do a little more damage when you factor in the expertise, but overall, again, full tree both times. He was doing great little Paplu things. The reposition was definitely valuable. Double shove when you get to the full tree, but that's at 5 successes for a double shove. It's a bad tree. I think there's a lot. Titus, I know you looked at Paplu and said, hey, with expertise in the units that are being played right now, there's probably some value here. And I agree with that, especially against Mandalorians across the board.
Still not great.
It's not a great treat.
I think Paplu is in the playable range now, and that's a pretty low bar
as far as it goes.
And because some of her abilities are really good, but
look at that. I don't know my Ewoks.
Well, it's whatever.
Don't want to misgender my Ewoks, Titus. Important.
God. All right.
Anyway,
Let's not.
like her abilities are good. The attacks are not great, but that's always been her problem. So like whatever. You're usually taking C-3PO anyway, as long as you have Leia, which is usually where you're going to be.
Which is where I'm definitely going back to. Hunters, I was impressed with. This was my first time putting them on the table myself. I played against them a few times. Coordinated Fire Pin is just good. Like, the unit could be a potato, and Coordinated Fire Pin
is just fantastic.
Very good. They have decent movement. They get extra attack dice. Their attacks are nothing special, but a crit 1 was enough to get a damage and a pin through. Most times they attacked, which means the list is spreading out a lot of pins. I would just kind of separate their attacks to 2 different targets, pin here, pin here. And they did that well. Having 8 health compared to the trappers is a massive difference.
Yeah.
I think these are a perfectly fine 3-cost support. To that conversation about 3-cost supports, I think there are worse options out there, and I think they're a fine addition to a list, and I would say the go-to support if you're playing Chirp.
I would agree. And
I
like,
think
Makes sense.
it's like they're a good support as long as you have the Ewok tag, which narrows them a lot, but
Wicket, I was actually very impressed with. That is a fast little bear. Able to get to where he needs to go, was also able to consistently get down his tree with the extra dice, with the focus action. And on the flip side, has a great tree. Tons of options, extra movement, easy shoves, conditions depending on which direction you go. Defensively was great. I was very happy with Wicket. I actually think whether to include him, even if you are playing Leia, like him or Chewie, or even throwing in Callus, I think is a valid question. But like, that is happy with Wicket. The last one being the trappers, who are bad. That is just, wow, a bad 4-cost unit. 7 health on a 4 is, quite frankly, I don't think reasonable, even if their card wasn't random chance. I don't know. 7 health support that isn't a Mandalorian, I don't think has a home.
No, they're the toughest one out of the group, I think, out of all the Ewoks.
It's a tough sell. the card actually both times the trap went off in this game closed a wound that was actually important to winning the game.
Which
A
it's
wound
worth
that-
noting that the trap card also bypasses a lot of revenge triggers because
Yes.
it's not a unit doing the wounding.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's attached to such a shitty body, though.
Oh
like
yeah, the
I was
body's
saying.
awful.
It also bypasses your own low gray trigger.
Hey, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's fair too.
I mean, if you need it, you need it.
If you need it, you need it.
Yeah.
And I needed it, but the only reason I needed it most of the time was because things like Paplu and the Trappers weren't able to close wounds against 7 health Mandalorians.
Oh, yeah, on their own. Yeah. That proposes another discussion and problem on its own.
Yeah, so I just like maybe shoring up a bit of a weakness here, but just in a more difficult way.
I think they'd be perfectly fine as a 3-point. 4 points, it's overcompensating for the trap card.
Yeah.
It's all
They
I
would
can
be a perfectly fine 3-point. Yes. I'm on board there. This is not a 4-point support compared to any other 4-cost support in the game. I'm trying to think of a worse option, and
This is the only list you would play them in because they have the Ewok tag naturally, and
you need it.
And you need
yes.
Yeah, you have to have it.
Overall, though, I think the bonus defense dice and bonus attack dice from the primaries does shore up some of the inherent weaknesses of the supports in general, of Paplu. I was impressed with how it all came together. Do I think I would opt to play Ewoks without Leia in any event I intend on trying to win? No, I don't.
No.
Am I very interested in playing around with some more Ewok stuff now that I've gotten Chirp on the table and a few of the other units to play around with some lists and test some stuff? Yeah, I think Ewoks are super fun. I love Leia as a primary. I think both Chirpa and Low Gray do some really great stuff in their own right. I'm excited to try the Leia Chirpa list because Rebel Commandos with some extra attack dice consistently sound real nice.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in seeing your thoughts on an Ewok list without Low Gray. Because Low Gray to me seems like the pinnacle Ewok.
Chirpa's
It turns it into a really aggressive list.
Chirpa's really good. And I think
Chirpa seems really good.
Yeah, no. It just I'm just saying it changes the dynamic of Ewoks so much.
Yeah, I think I think you can anchor Leia, which is something I definitely want to explore.
Yeah.
And have your Chirpa list as your aggro killy list with some revenge in there, because Chirpa does add that element. You have your Low Gray option, which is just fast movement, control bodies.
And then for the 4th squad, you play Cassian when you want to win.
And for the 4th squad, you play Cassian when you want a very revenge-focused list. But yeah, that is exactly what I do. And I think pairing Leia with Cassian is just a good pairing in its own right. For a good combo of revenge and damage output. Yeah, this Freedom Fighter Leia is one I want to play around more with. She's a primary I'm very interested in. It is the most fun I've had with Rebel adjacent things in some time, I think. So I'll be exploring this a bit more.
Sweet. Awesome.
Bears.
Da Bears. Moving on, we have an event. I think we mentioned it on January 18th at Critical Hit Gaming Lounge.
This weekend.
This weekend. This is our usual monthly events that we put on. I think I'll drop the link again this week for anybody that's going to listen to this on Thursday and is in Ontario or close. And it's kind of like, hey, I've never been to this store before. Or, hey, I want to go play with the Critical Hit guys or that group in that community, or even just come out and play with us. I'll drop the link in the Discord. I have an idea, kind of alluded to what I'm thinking about playing. Titus, what are you thinking about maybe leaning towards playing here?
So kind of torn between 3 strike teams. The first one being I want to do something with Veers. I'm pretty set on that. It's either Veers Krennic, just the usual Stormtrooper swarm that I've been doing for a while. I wanted to try making Veers Thrawn work, but it always ends up dying in list building because 2 7 points is real tough. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the first strike team. Second one would be Inquisitors with Corset Ahsoka and GI, and then third sister, fourth sister, fifth brother, and with GI I'd throw in Gideon Hask because then I have Long Live the Empire still, and I still have a something that buffs their attack because Inquisitors just don't have great attacks.
They need it.
Yeah, they need a little extra boost for sure.
Yeah. So and then also I have something that punishes for killing Fourth Sister because she's the one that just goes down constantly. Then my other thing would just be full Ewoks. So I'm trying to pick between those kind of 6 squads, 3 strike teams. I need to narrow it down to a single premier list, and I'm kind of batting stuff around, trying to figure out what I want to do.
Okay, awesome. Kyle, where are you leaning?
I have no idea.
Ewoks. Play Ewoks.
I might confer with Titus
Again.
and see if he's ending up on the Ewok train. I have no idea. I've been looking for kind of a primary to rally around. Leia might be that option. Kind of just looking for a fun project to kind of stick to. And what I'm pretty confident in is that I'm looking at an anchor list. Honestly, Inquisitors were on my list again of maybe anchoring a GI squad and going that direction. Sean, you're back looking like full Empire based on the conversation earlier.
I think so, yeah. I mean, we're really, to give listeners and viewers some context, we're really, the 3 of us at least, are really trying to not play meta, I think, until we have to. Is that kind of the consensus, guys, at this point?
Yeah, like we don't have anything big coming up anytime soon.
No.
I never have to play meta.
Okay, true. And we also have something we've talked about before. We have some new players coming out to this one.
We do.
Which I think is really, really great, right? And I think giving a good first impression to some new players, I think, is also important too. So like windmill slamming Cassian, for me, doesn't feel correct. So
yeah, and I've already said I was putting Delta was going on the shelf for a period of time. But I don't know. Before the holidays I was playing Rift quite a bit, and definitely might be an avenue that I go back to. I am super undecided though.
All right. Well, there we go.
Like I have, if it wasn't a new player thing, I was seriously considering bringing out Kenobi PLC again, but the interactions with that list are just a little bit too complicated that I don't want to inflict them on people just coming into the game. Because like it's a mess of a list for very little benefit.
I have a Padme anchor list sitting on my phone that's always ready for a spin.
Yeah, that's
nice. Would love
that's
to see
something
that.
you could do.
That's something I could do. That's a stamp of approval if I ever heard it.
Yeah.
Hera was another one I was looking at, and I don't think I came up with anything I felt super inspired by. But it's just been a long time since I've seen Hera on a table.
She's real cool. And I think she would be good if the top lists weren't just so damn lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah.
Something like that. All right.
New key operations. Titus, you want to get us through this?
Yeah.
So we had a drop of 2 new key operation missions. So it was Explore the Ruins and Foil the Heist. So for those who aren't as familiar with key operations, they all work on a clock. You're not moving the struggle tracker the way you normally do. You still use the same tracker, but it works differently. Basically, there's one player who is the aggressor, one who is the sentinel. The aggressor has certain goals they're trying to accomplish before the timer runs out. The sentinel is trying to run down the clock. Each turn, you're putting momentum on the tracker, and when the tracker is full, the Sentinel wins. All of the missions are 2 stages instead of 3. And when you go from stage 1 to stage 2, the tracker doesn't reset. So you have 1 timer for the whole game. Sometimes, depending on the mission, you take a certain number of momentum off, but in general, you're not. Like, it's just a timer. There's other ways to interact with it, but I'm not going to go in depth. There's enough rules that it kind of bogs you down a little bit. So I'd say give it a shot and don't sweat it if the first game doesn't go very smoothly because you're learning the rules. But there's enough missions now that are cool and thematic that I think it's worth learning the base rules of it because they all work off the same thing. So all that said, we'll go to these 2 new missions that dropped. Explore the ruins. The theme here is that the aggressor is trying to find this hidden treasure in some kind of ruins, be it an old Sith temple or something. It's very reminiscent of like trying to find that Sith holocron, and then the good guys trying to stop you from getting it, going to the point of maybe they'll blow the whole thing up to stop you from getting this powerful treasure. What's cool about this one is you're almost trying to solve a puzzle. There's a bunch of different symboled tokens around. You have to discover them all because they're all face down, and you're both kind of racing to see who gets this puzzle solved first. If the Sentinel gets it first, they get a bonus on the next stage, and also they just get to run down the clock more. There's another aspect to it called Mysterious Workings, which can be triggered in a number of different ways, but basically it's like the Ewok trap card sort of thing, where there's a bunch of different options depending on which of these symbols is rolled or revealed, and you get special effects. There's one that just deals straight damage on a point. There's one where if they're pinned, they take damage, and if not, they can run away and not take damage. There's one that refreshes your force. There's one that moves one of the objectives, which is really cool. Then we go to stage 2, where presumably you've discovered the secrets of the ruins, and the aggressor is trying to open the box that has the secret treasure. They got to flip 4 switches across the table. The Sentinel is trying to bring the whole place down before they can do that. Again, there's a bunch of mechanics associated with it. You get more of these trap card type effects. But in general, it's thematically, it's what I said. You just, one person's trying to get the treasure, the other one's trying to blow the place up.
Thematically, this is the one I'm excited for.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Honestly, they both, I think, nail the theme pretty well. I'm excited to try these when we get to actually run in a league, and I'm excited to, for us to chat on here about how we feel about these missions once we get them on the table.
Yeah. So the second mission is a little simpler. It's called Foil the Heist. There's a smuggler that is stolen something from whoever the aggressor is. The smuggler is trying to get away. The aggressor is trying to raise the shields, and if they don't get the shields up in time, the aggressor or the smuggler gets away. So you try to raise the shields. If you don't get the shields up in time, the Sentinel wins, the smuggler gets away. If you do get the shields up in time, the Sentinel then has to try to bring them back down. And if you manage to kill the smuggler before the shields come back down, the aggressor wins. This one's pretty darn simple. A smuggler can run away, so it's an objective that can be controlled but moves around the board. But apart from that, there's not a lot in terms of extra mechanics to this one. It's a little more streamlined. There's still different ways to move the trackers and whatnot, which represent kind of a big text block, but they're really kind of simple once you get down to it. It's just having to write out every single little detail on how something triggers takes up a lot of space. But yeah,
these both look super cool. I am excited to try both of them, and we've got a couple more that we haven't tried yet from the original batch. I'm very excited for this league and getting some more hands-on experience with some of the key operations and getting a little more comfortable with it. Sean, I know you still need to just get your feet wet with all of these.
Yeah, this will be my first experience with them. And again, we said pre-cast here, this is a great way, again, to dive into it, right? It just mainly our core group, our local group, people that we play with all the time. So there's no real pressure. It's just learning it and how to do it. And yeah, I'm excited to dive into it for the first time.
Yeah, I think putting an organized spin on it, just make sure these get on the table. And it's really easy to say, we'll play this, we'll get to this eventually.
Yep. Now we're doing it.
Yeah, this kind of pushes it. So thank you, Titus, for organizing this. I'm super excited to kind of play through
too.
Play through a narrative thing.
Part of the plan is I'm going to be doing up some mission write-ups, mission briefings before each round. Nice. I'll probably post that and kind of a little blurb about what happened in the past week in the Discord, so people can follow along with the narrative of it. But in general, I'm just excited to get these on the table, to get the campaign rules going, and
super excited to share it. And for me, so far in testing these, Legendary Encounters, I fell in love with the first time I played it. it hooked me right away. I have so many cadre lists that I am excited to play. These haven't quite hooked me in the same way yet, but I'm excited to see how that kind of maybe changes in a campaign format and a little more experience with them, so we're not learning every time we sit down and play one, and kind of seeing how that evolves.
All right. So we also had a new mission well, not a new mission drop. We had the pre-order for a new mission go up, and this one is a showdown playable mission. I don't know what we call these. Just a basic mission. I don't know.
Regular Shatterpoint.
Yeah, regular
base, like
Shatterpoint.
a base mission. Yeah.
Strategic positions. It was spoiled at Mini Stravaganza. We have some details. Like they showed us 3 cards in the pre-order mission, like product picture that they have on their website. It is the same Struggle 1, same Struggle 2 card, but a new Struggle 3 card, which I think we can infer a little bit from this picture. The main thing to take away for me is that the tactical advantage on Struggle 3 is the same despite being a different card. It's not confirmed by any means, but to me this implies that the tactical advantages will be the same no matter what card you flip.
Consistent.
Yeah, they'll be consistent for Struggle 1. We'll have the same one all the time. Struggle 2 will have the same one all the time. Struggle 3 will have the same one all the time. I'm
also
going to be wrong on that, but it feels right.
Yeah, a couple of things for me on this mission. I like the layout. I like the cross with the ones on the outs with the positions on the outside. I visually like the layout of this mission. And I like the double priority objective token. I think this mission is really going to really favor very mobile and fast lists. This is actually a list going back to trying to bring Thrawn back a little bit and these movement type of lists. I think Thrawn might have a very nice home here. Maybe we'll see.
Unless they do something really strange with the layouts, Struggle 1 is going to be a lot easier to plan for than, say, Never Tell Me the Odds, because all those middle points are within a fairly close range of each other in the center. Yeah. So with Never Tell Me the Odds, you always end up with this thing where, okay, you could be way off to the side or you could have the X. And there are certain lists that love the X but hate when you're out to the side. This mission is almost always going to resemble that X because the middle points are so close together, so close to the center.
Yes.
I think you're going to be able to take lists like or that want something in the middle, like Mace Windu, like Obi-2, anything that has those defensive bubbles and just want to slug it out in the center. I think you'll be able to just pile stuff in there and do fairly well.
Hot take, dare I say, this one might be good for Talzin as well?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I could absolutely see that, right? If she can hang out in that center.
Yeah, like dominate anything that wants to dominate a center. I think Mandalorian could also be very good here too, right? I mean, putting a tough primary piece right in the center, or the layouts here looks like they're kind of like a top or a bottom, and there's 3 across the top and the bottom. Having somebody that can control a very centralized area, I think would be very good here too.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this mission. I like the mechanics that we've seen. The tactical advantages seem very cool in creating some benefits for some other objectives that aren't your scoring objectives. I think is a super cool mechanic. Someone has been openly unimpressed with First Contact.
It's way better.
This
is infinitely better than for the First Contact.
I'm very excited about this. I've actually tried it out using the set, like 3 cards that we had. Really liked it. I'm optimistic about the other layouts, but especially if the tactical advantages stay the same, I think it's a really good mission.
Will be legal at Adepticon as well too, which is notable.
That's a huge twist.
For people that want to take a new mission, I think we saw that before. Taking a new mission can have some sort of competitive advantage. First Contact TBO, it was legal, and some people brought it, and people were like,
and not everyone had it yet.
Right.
And the people that brought it had no idea what they were doing.
Okay.
Anyway, check it out on everything.
Standard mission
Comes
price
out
we've
March
seen.
13th.
And it's going to be a huge twist for Worlds, which I'm on board for because I think there's going to be some cool lists that can take advantage of this. And yeah, I think it's going to be a cool injection into the game. That First Contact really didn't feel like, because I kind of just don't want to see it.
Ever again.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to add to the pool. Right now, I feel like our missions are very split between, you can take sabotage or shifting for lists that don't quite have as much movement, or you can take odds and First Contact for lists that have the mobility to do those, with a really great advantage from anything that can forward deploy. And this feels like a good middle ground that doesn't just fit into those boxes. So
Yep, I would agree.
Excited to see some more, see what the rest of the cards look like, and then get this on the table.
Yep, I'm very much looking forward to this. I want to get some more games in with it.
And based on the layout, because that center objective you can't actually hit in regular deployment, but he's a little closer than what we've seen from First Contact or Never Tell Me the Odds. And something that we thank you to Dylan and doing some measurements for us, because I have bugged him a lot about this. It does look like large bases are going to be able to hit that center point. And what has a lot of large bases? Droids do.
And Ewoks.
And Ewoks.
And
There we
Ewoks.
go.
See, play more
All right,
Ewoks, Kyle.
this is the Separatist and Ewok mission. Coined it right here. Stamped.
Yeah, we're entering our Separatist and Ewok era.
That's it. The best list in the game.
I'm going back to Dooku and Talzin. Done.
But
Oh,
let's
boy.
talk about Mr. Big Base Primary himself, General Grievous.
Yeah,
In
moving
the
into
Appetite for Destruction box.
our primary spotlight.
Yeah, I think I played a ton of Grievous early game. He was kind of the first primary when I dove into Shatterpoint, and I'm like, I want to play Grievous. This is what I want to do. Sean, I know you played quite a bit of Grievous back then as well.
Yep.
Titus, you didn't pick him up till close to when Rift came out, right?
No, I picked him up for the first time when Sean and I did the team event because
Yes.
we were figuring out what we were going to play. I think I played Asajj and Grievous because you
Yes.
were playing Dooku at the time and Talzin, I want to say.
Yeah, it was Dooku.
Yeah, so like I knew I wanted to play Asajj with your Talzin, and like I just liked Asajj at the time. Grievous was the one where I went, okay, well he goes with everything else, and ended up coming away with it really liking Grievous. Like I did a couple playtest games before we got to the team event just so I'd be familiar with him, and went, oh my gosh, this guy's great, and kind of dropped him for a while because I wasn't a Separatist player. And like you said, Kyle, I picked him up later when Rift came out because I was excited to play Rift.
You really tried to make it work.
Yeah,
That
I did.
was
I tried
some-
really hard.
Some solid effort, and honestly, it's close.
It's very close.
There's really some good stuff on that list. So let's start talking about Grievous. So Grievous is an 8 squad point primary, comes with 3 force, 11 health, which is hefty, and a lot of text on a card. I could be wrong, but this might be the most text on a card of those early primaries. I am absolutely willing to be corrected on that, but he does a lot of
He does
stuff.
a ton, yeah.
He's got a lot.
So jumping in, kicking off with Onward, at the start of his activation, choose an allied battle droid. Character was in 4. The chosen character may dash. Pretty straightforward from a tactic. We're looking for battle droids here, which makes sense. Range 4 is a little tight, but it gets the job done, especially on an early activation. We then go into Scuttle, which I think is my favorite thing on Grievous's card and allows him to consistently do what he needs to do.
Makes him boogie.
This is 1 force. It gives him scale, and he gets to advance. So he's got scale to the end of the turn. So if you need to get Grievous onto a high point, you can do that. It does force you to turn one of those advances, either the one from Scuttle or his own move action, into a climb, but gives you a lot of versatility on where you can get him.
So something I'll say about this ability. This is part of my nitpicking about why there's so much text on this card. The ability could just say one character in this unit may advance or climb. The only thing that this scale does is it lets him turn those repositions on his attack tree into a climb instead. Because you can already
Which
climb
is
for
handy.
your regular movement. It's useful. but like
But most of the time, it's
most of the time it's
advancing or
completely
climbing.
irrelevant, and it feels like there's a lot of abilities like that where it could be worded so much more concisely. Um, anyway, sorry, soapboxing real quick.
Nope, totally
Pet
fair.
peeve.
Then we have a reactive ability. I have been trained in your Jedi arts. This is a 2 force ability. After a melee attack made by a character in this unit is resolved, this unit may use this ability. Each enemy unit that has 1 or more characters engaged with the attacker, except the defending unit, suffers 2 damage.
Anybody ever use this? I never did.
I have.
I have in fact used it, but this might as well be blank. For how many times I have played Grievous, this is not an ability that is worth 2 force. I think
You
there's
use it if you're getting a kill.
Yeah, if it happens to kill something that is also happens to be engaged with you and the character that you're attacking in the first place I think this is a symptom of early Shatterpoint. I think there was an assumption that there would be a lot more clustered units than happens in reality in a lot of games. The opportunities are very few and far between, and I look at some more modern, bomb-esque abilities that have range attached to them, that don't require how many units are around, that do the same kind of damage. Honestly, even if this also hit the defending unit, how many times Grievous ends up 2 away from damaging somebody would completely change this a bit.
So, like, I just basically look at this, and this is the I kill Ezra Bridger and flip Kanan the Figure ability. That's all it is. Because you get your 2 force back, and Kanan does nothing. Anywhere else, this ability is garbage.
Yeah, super circumstantial. Onto a opposite of garbage ability, maybe the better thing on his card even than Scuttle. His Appetite for Destruction. After this unit makes a combat action, choose an allied battle droid supporting character within 3. The chosen character may dash. Then that character may make a 5 dice attack targeting one of the same enemy characters within range and line of sight. So just what the previous ability had mentioned, that oftentimes Grievous is a damage or 2 away from closing out a kill. This will close that out just about every time.
And some movement too, which is nice.
And some extra movement for some local battle droids. Again, range 3. The unfortunate piece about this combo is that this doesn't, if that's how the wound happens, it doesn't trigger his identity.
And it happens that way a lot.
And it happens that way most of the time.
Hitting 7 damage. He is not good at getting past 7 damage.
Yeah. So into that identity, another fine addition to my collection. When a character in this unit wounds an enemy unit, after the effect is resolved, that character may heal 2. Then, if the wounded character was a force user, refresh 2 force. This is a overall great identity. Grievous is a heavy damage unit. The combination of these 2 abilities is in an interesting place where, you sacrifice taking that if he's not the one that closes the wound. Wish there was a nicer way to combine these things, but overall Grievous does a lot. He has the attack trees to match these cards, and what this card does, quad arm attack has an exceptionally high damage potential output. It does 7 damage on 3 successes, which is that still the highest in the game?
I'm not sure.
Double check on that. It's close.
I think in
So
3
you can get
successes.
8 on 3 successes, and I would be very confident that that's the highest.
Yes, because if you get 3 expertise here, yes, you can hit 8 on 3 successes with 3 expertise, and that would certainly be the highest. And then 4 damage on step 5 there. In any situation where Grievous can get extra dice, he's absolutely going to dummy something. And no Sarai introduced some ways to get Grievous some extra dice. And Titus, I know from us playing that, Grievous will get down that tree every single time.
He's very reliable that way. Like
the expertise conversion is great. Defensively here, we are rolling 4 dice. 1 is 1 block, 2 is 2 block. So Grievous is not going to be defending much of anything. He is very easy to just shove off a point and then kind of ignore until he activates again. he's going to go play Blender. His Cunning Warlord side, it does have a little more finesse. We've got a good ranged attack on this side with the Annihilator Blaster, with some decent expertise conversion. He's got some shoves on this side, some heals, some jumps, some repositions. So we're definitely a little more versatile than the other side, which is just putting damage. And then we have 5 and 5 on the defense die on this side with some interesting expertise. So 1 to 2 is a crit to a hit and a dash, and 3+ is a block, crit to hit, and a reposition. I would say you flip to the side often defensively, but you're more looking for that movement to move Grievous back to a point when he's attacked than you are looking to really block.
Yeah, like this is something I actually marveled about when I came back to Grievous. Because that first year of Shatterpoint, I was convinced that Quad Arm was his less survivable side. I'd be excited going after Grievous when he was in Quad Arm because, oh, look, he only has 4 defense dice. Nowadays, looking at that expertise, that expertise is actually really good on Quad Arm, whereas on the Cunning Warlord, it's not great. He's pretty squishy. If you survive,
end up with 0 blocks more often than you'd like.
Yeah, it's seeing the difference between then and now it's one of the few times where I've been able to look back and go, okay, I've made some distinct shifts in my perspective, because what once looked like a really defensive tree no longer looks like that because we realized the value of expertise.
100%. I don't think unless I needed him to shoot, I'm probably not flipping Grievous very often.
Yeah. He stays in Quad Arm for me whenever I play him.
With the exception of I need to bank on getting him back onto a point. If he's at full health and I'm like, I don't care what damage he takes, I need to be able to move him back to a point. But again, most things have a pin access some kind, and then that's going to just shut that off. So
100%. There's a time and place.
There's a time and place, but for the most part, Quad Arm is where Grievous wants to be. And honestly, not to turn down, again, he is going to output damage very, very consistently. More consistently than most things in the game without any help.
And he moves his team around quite a bit.
Yeah, he adds a ton of utility to Separatists. I think from purely looking at Separatists, I don't think you're playing Separatists without Grievous.
No. I think Grievous is a key piece to Separatists, I would agree.
I think there's still an argument to be made about some like corner case Dooku lists. You could go Dooku, Talzin, and Separatists, but like
that's a different game plan though entirely with those two.
Yeah, that's more of a mix. But if you're like, I want to play battle droids and I want to play more pure Separatists, this is the box to start with. And he actually holds up perfectly fine. I don't typically look at Grievous and say he's not doing enough. When I play Separatists, Grievous on the table does plenty. I'm never typically upset to see him activate.
Yeah. You're almost always
it's supporting cast. It's supporting cast within Separatists right now. It's the same old story that we've had for a long time.
Also, I will say, important to note, still my favorite model in Shatterpoint. He is absolutely amazing. Gorgeous. Yes. Looks incredible on the table. He's
especially Sean's Grievous.
The one with Obi-Wan
or dead Obi-Wan there. Yeah.
My Grievous is not canon, folks. If you've ever seen it, but Grievous gets him.
Wow, an incredible model. But yeah, so anyone that happen to get to this episode and thinking I want to play Separatists, this is my recommended starting box. The rest of the box we're gonna get Kraken. Kraken, I think is the best Separatist secondary.
Yeah,
I think so. A lot of people will argue for Kalani. Kalani, I think, has the more impactful activations, but I think Kraken is the more versatile, right? Because Kraken's move is board wide, whereas Kalani's has a range. I think that is a very important
I think Kalani has the better first activation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But any other activation in the game,
yes,
less so.
Yeah, I think Kraken is the full game secondary, like you said there. Yeah, Kalani's good at the start. Kraken gets you through the entire game.
The only thing Kalani has going for him that Kraken doesn't is
the bonus die.
It's the bonus dice for droids, which is huge because it does apply to those 5 dice attacks,
which droids are making a whole lot of.
Yeah.
The answer is play both because you can. So starting off with Do Not Let Them Escape. were dashing either himself or an allied battle droid supporting unit. That being able to dash himself is a big reason why I think I like him over Kalani in most cases, because a character that only has access to a single advance is a tough sell. From the Kalani standpoint, but Kalani adds so much to a list otherwise. They both have their places. I still really like them both. Add in that, Kraken sitting here at 10 health. Conqueror's Resolve gives him protection and steadfast when he's contesting an objective.
Really good.
Really good. Again, same issue of we do not have great defensive expertise, which is going to be a theme across our droid friends, and 4 defensive dice. But that protection and steadfast goes a long way with 10 health. And then having Tactical Network allowing you to target any battle droid, not just the support. They can dash, they can make a 5 dice attack. There's a lot that Kraken has to offer, and will definitely have his place in separatist lists as you build them out.
Could you imagine if we had a battle droid primary to take advantage of that?
Oh man, give me battle droid on Grievous, and we are
cooking.
living the best
cooking.
life.
He would just blend everything. It'd be great.
And then wrapping up Grievous's box is the B2 battle droids. For a long time, this is kind of the go-to separatist support.
They were really good back in the day.
I guess Magna Guard pre-nerf was a step above this, but I think for a long time it was definitely B2s over B1s. I think a lot of that stance has changed over time. They have 8 health and protection, which I think is a good start, but again, we have negligent dice and defensive expertise, and offensively, these guys will do 2 damage and a shove. That is what you are relying on B2s.
Yeah, they feel they're a control support. I don't want to.
Yeah, like
maybe
a
put them
super
in that
reliable
category.
1 shove.
What they are is they are stapled to Grievous because Grievous can't confirm his own kills, and these guys reliably do that 2 damage that Grievous needs.
Yes.
Whether
At a
it's
rate.
hits coming through or expertise coming through, they will reliably close off the damage gap if Grievous can't do it. And they are a great target for a 5 dice attack, much better than the B1s in comparison. The B1s, I just think, have a higher ceiling on their own activations. But these guys are a great target for a 5 dice attack because they will reliably just put a couple damage through.
And they are sneaky. They're really good as back objective attackers as well too, since they have an advance and then a dash as well too. With the shoves as well, that they can really boogie across the board.
Yeah, the big bases help a lot there.
Yes.
I'm actually going to make a hot take on these guys and the B1s. I think if you gave the B2s and B1s steadfast, respectively, like when they're on the point for the B1s, these guys just give them steadfast, they would be a nightmare to deal with. They would be 100% better than they are now because protection, steadfast, large hit pools is just real hard to deal with. But because they have big bases, you can push them off the point almost guaranteed, and it just makes such a huge difference. It would do a lot to fix the faction.
That's interesting. I like that a lot.
I like steadfast is something I value very, very heavily, so I don't disagree that just throwing them on there would make a huge difference. What I can say is all these pieces together are a ton of fun. And while, we've kind of all said as a group that if you're starting Shatterpoint, I think the recommendation is still Mandalorians to kick off as kind of the best starting point. These are a very close second. I think they will teach a lot of really good fundamentals of Shatterpoint. You end up with a pretty obvious, I think, game plan in what your path to success is. You are relying on additional movement, big bases to move across the board, making extra attacks, and cleaning up some wounds as you move this swarm of droids up the board. And I think with that obvious game plan, they had a ton of success early days in Shatterpoint. I think as both the game and player community kind of matured in playstyles, we definitely saw that take a bit of a backseat. I wouldn't count Separatists down and out, especially with some recent additional support with the Rift box, which I think is an incredible box.
And a rebalance coming too.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping for a little Separatist love when it comes to that. But I want to be super clear. Like, if you find this episode and you wanted to know more about the Grievous box and how it plays together, if you want to play Separatists, this is a place to start. I think you can still have a great time with them right up until the highest levels of point. Like, if you just bought the Grievous box and the Rift Tamsin box, you are going to have a great time.
Yeah,
it's all aggro all the time. If you're an aggro player, a damage, you love to do damage. This is the place for you.
You are going to be able to go out and absolutely put some wounds on some models, especially if you've got the core box on top of that. Flashing in Kalani or the B1s can open up some really cool options. I think can really introduce you to some of the introductions to list building, because realistically, Separatists have 4 squad boxes they have access to, right? You've got this Grievous box, you've got the Rift Tamsin box, the Dooku box, and the Asajj squad from the core box. But I think all of the models have a place with those different lists and primaries. Might be the most boxes as is from a list building perspective that I think you might find in any of the tag factions, quote unquote.
I think so, because they just work so well together.
Yeah, like Dooku box as is great, Grievous box as is great. And again, the squads are easy to swap. Yeah, you can get Rift Tamsin, you can throw No Sarai on the Aqua Droids with Grievous, which, to be clear, I think is really good.
Yeah, you can do Django as a secondary. I mean, like there's so many interchangeable parts within those 4 boxes, but
the boxes also work really well.
Right, they feel like cohesive, but you're just interchanging certain pieces within a very cohesive package.
Yeah, where I look at some Empire stuff or some Rebel stuff, and there's a lot of boxes where I just would not recommend playing it.
Yeah,
as a box,
like there's very firm removals from some of those boxes. Yes,
every one of these packages is great on its own. You can pick it up, you can play, which is why I think it is a great entry point. Even compared to Republic, there's not many Republic boxes. I would just say pick up this box and play as is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So from an entry point in the game.
One thing I would say for new players, nothing will teach you the relevance of a wounded support the way Separatists will. Because when your supports are wounded, they are still your workhorse. Because everything is making them attack anyway.
Zombie supports.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah, I can say, like, the Aqua Droids with Grievous. Like, Grievous giving the Aqua Droids 5 dice attacks after he attacks is
kind of gross.
Is real good. I think the more I've played Aqua Droids, the more I've been impressed. So again, there are still pieces of this that I think really sing. The Rift box is a great addition. So I think I kind of spoiled that, but I think we always do an out-of-the-box pairing. So if you buy the Grievous box, what's the next option? Obviously, if you have the core box already, you can just pair Asajj with Kalani and the B1s and have a perfectly fine time. If you're not starting with the core box, it's got to be Riff, right?
I mean, you could go Dooku too and still have a good time.
Yeah, Riff or Dooku.
Great.
Riff, I'd say, is going to be the stronger list, but yes, especially if the approach is you're new to Shatterpoint and putting this together, Riff is a tough primary to kind of crack. None of these are bad options. Buy 2 Separatist box. Have a great time.
Flavor to taste.
That would be our first one. I have for a list, kind of going outside here a little bit. I have Grievous, Kraken B2s with Cad Bane, actually, Jango Fett, and the Aqua Droids. And what I like about this list is, like we said, you get everything from the Grievous box as is, right? You got Grievous being the blender, Kraken moving, 2 battle droid supports around in the Aqua Droids and the B2s. And then you have a little bit of control, objective control with Jango Fett, being able to pull stuff off. It gives you more force refresh as well, too, because Cad's only bringing 2. And then Cad Bane doing his thing with force refresh and being another, in a different way, a different aggressive primary.
I was looking at something similar with instead going Kalani B1s with Grievous and then Kraken Aqua Droids with Cad, but very similar thought process. I also brought a more out of the box kind of list. So what I was looking at was going Grievous, Kalani B1s, and then going over to the other side with Cad Bane, Dengar, Han, and Chewie.
Because this is exactly the list I put together.
Yeah, because Dengar, Han, and Chewie both have a payday ability They can turn
Yep.
them into battle droids.
Yep,
Then
that's fun.
they can, if you know you're going with Grievous or Kalani, you go, okay, I'm going to payday Han and Chewie as battle droids, get them to do their 5-die attack, and it turns into a 6-die attack, but their 6-die attack is amazing.
Is real good.
Hopefully you're killing something, getting 2 force back for the one that you paydayed.
Gross.
That is the exact list I
Seems
have right in
real
front of me
good.
here. That I was
Yeah.
like, my out of the box list is Han and Chewie role playing their best battle droids.
Which, to be clear, Kyle and I have been discussing this list for a good 6 months at least. It's not a surprise that we both kind of came to that.
And honestly, you could anchor that list because you could pair that with Padme and Handmaidens. Also have a great time.
What?
Yeah. So Dengar, Han, and Chewie can both become handmaidens. Padme gives them an extra 2 damage on the front end.
It's just
Cad
gross.
on the back
it's gross.
end.
Yeah.
Is that what I want to play this weekend?
Yeah, I'm honestly leaning Grievous again now. So this has screwed up all my plans.
We're just having fun on
Amazing.
Sunday, apparently.
I have no idea what I'm playing. But that's it. That's Grievous. Again, it's a ton of fun. Is it always going to win games in current state? No, it's not. But I still have an absolute blast every time I pick up Separatists. Metas change. The ebb and flow of the game and balance was in an ever state of change as updates come, as new boxes come, and play the thing you want to play the thing that you find fun, that the theme nails. And I think the fact that we kicked off this game with Separatists is one of the coolest parts of Shatterpoint for me. They nailed these right out of the gate. It's where I started with Shatterpoint, and go back to revisit. There's still some of my favorite painted models, some of the coolest models across the game line, not just with Grievous, but I think all of them. So a ton of fun with hobbying too.
I'm very confident that looking at what they did with Republic and the outpouring, I think, of very vocal thoughts and opinions of where Separatists are, I would be shocked if Separatists don't get changed in the same way the Republic did in the first balance pass.
26 going to be the year of the Separatists.
I would be very, very surprised.
The year of the battle droid.
I would be shocked if Separatists do not become infinitely better in the next battle pass or in the next balance pass, which happens this year. I'd be very shocked.
Well, I think with that, if you've been playing Grievous, you have any cool Grievous lists you want to share, always join into the Discord. Link, as always, is in the show notes. I would be happy to talk some Separatists. We spoke last week where I think they've become my favorite thing to play in Legendary Encounters. Let's add that into the mix here.
That's real good there.
They're real good there. So I'm excited to explore that a little more. And it was nice to get, again, them all back on the table. So we'll be chatting with you guys more in the Discord on our key operations fun, and definitely recommend you join the conversation.
Thanks, everybody.
That all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.